What's going on, everyone? Are you researching fat tire e-bikes right now? Are you looking for an affordable full suspension e-bike? Maybe you've come across Cyrusher. I have two of their bikes right here in front of me. This is the Cyrusher XF800 and this is the XF900. So current pricing on these bikes, goes for I think $23.50 and this one goes for $27.99. You might be able to find them cheaper if you can catch it when they're running a special. But that's the current pricing, and maybe you're finding yourself trying to decide which one of these two should you get. And just so you know, I've done full reviews on both of these bikes. Check my review comparison playlist if you want, all the up close detailed everything about these bikes. But today we're going to do just a side-by-side comparison so I can show you the up close differences between the bikes and just kind of describe the different feel of riding each one, because I've ridden these both back to back, so I got a good feel for the differences between them. Couple things I need to tell you right up front. Number one, these bikes are here courtesy of Cyrusher. Did not purchase these. They sent me the bikes for the purpose of doing review and comparison videos, so that's what we're doing today. And the other thing to mention, as always, is that I am not an e-bike expert, and I am not a cyclist, and I'm not an electrical engineer, and I'm pretty much not a professional in any way. I'm a regular guy, and I make videos about e-bikes, so just know that that's the perspective I'm coming from. So let's take a look at these two up close. I'll get them lined up for you, and we'll go through them, some of the details, and I'll tell you what it's like to ride each one. Maybe help you decide which one you might want to get. All right, well, we're not going to get too overly detailed in this video, but I am going to go through them front to back and just point out the differences between them. Just so, if you're torn between which one you might want to get, hopefully this will help. Tire-wise, you can get a variety of tires on these bikes. I think, honestly, it's probably whatever they have in stock. So these have CSTs on the 800, Chaoyang's the brand. On the 900, you can also get Kendas as well. Ignore the yellow spokes, that's not stock. I just put spoke skins on the bike, so they normally come black, not yellow. That's an aftermarket thing I did. So very similar tires on these bikes. The brakes are also similar. I mean, they're both 180 millimeter rotors on the bike. They both have quick release front wheels. Where they differ is the brand of brakes. They're both hydraulic. These both have full hydraulic brakes. The 800 has Star Union is the brakes. These are Zoom hydraulics on this bike. And you can ignore the mirrors, those are aftermarket as well. What I can tell you the difference is, I like the Star Union. These are probably #1 spot. Of all the 13 e-bikes I've got, the Star Union brakes are amazing. I don't know if that's a high-end brand or a low-end brand or what. I'm not a cyclist, but they work amazing. The Zoom brakes, they work. They're fine. I don't have any issues with them, but the Star Union, I'll take those all day long. They work just absolutely amazing. So we've got same tires. We've got both have full hydraulic brakes. One Zoom, one Star Union. So that's pretty much all equivalent. The big difference here at the front is the forks, right? So these have just your regular e-bike forks that you normally see on the front of a bike. These have these massive gold, these are air suspension forks, right? So there's a little nozzle up here where you can adjust the air pressure inside this fork to your liking. And they call this their motorcycle inspired e-bike, and it's got to be because of these front forks. It gives you that motorcycle look. So that's the major difference between these two at the front end, is the suspension. This is going to have a much, and I can tell you from riding it, much stiffer suspension on the 900. This is pretty squishy. I weigh 170 pounds. When I fly off a curb and jump this thing, you can feel the suspension squish down, and it's a nice soft landing. I was able to spring this a lot more than I could on this. This has a stiffer suspension on it. So I guess maybe if you're a heavier person, maybe you want the stiffer suspension. They both have the same identical headlight on them. The only difference there really is that the 900 has the one-touch headlight button right here. It's got this little added button where you can have your horn and your headlight on one touch. This 800 only has the menu button and the power button on here. There's no, that other button cluster isn't there, and it kind of feels like, I'm jumping ahead here, but I kind of feel like this bike is more for going out and maybe off-roading or just kind of having some fun on it. This one maybe is more for cruising a little bit more. It seems to have more of those kind of cruiser features and seating position. So let's just keep going through some differences here. So the next thing I'll point out is this shifter. You've got this thumb style shifter on the 800, whereas the 900 has like the trigger shifters that fall on your fingertips right here. I do like these better, actually. There's a twist throttle, but it doesn't really get in the way of the throttle. I didn't really notice any issues working the throttle with the stylus shifters. And that leads to another difference, which is that the 900 is a 21 speed bike, where the 800 is a 7-speed bike. If that matters to you, honestly, I don't know that the 21 is even necessary. I found myself only using like 4 of those gears anyway. But know that you get 21 speeds out of this one, you get just 7 out of the 800. All right, well, let's stay up here at the front of the bike. Another thing I'll point out is the handlebars. So on the 800, they are 2 inches narrower, you know, from end to end is like 26 inches, and on the 900 it's like 28 inches, maybe a little bit more, almost 29. So they're wider handlebars on the 900. The display screens, let me turn them on here so you can see. So here's your 900, that's your display screen. All the information you get, it gives you pretty much everything you need. The only thing I pointed out in that last video of the review on this is the watt meter gives you just 3 digits. So you don't know really what the watt output is. Whereas on this screen, the watt meter gives you 4 digits. So you actually get to see how much over 1,000 watts you're getting, because these both peak over 1,000 watts. So they're very powerful bikes. I like this screen better. You know, they're roughly similar, but I do like the screen on the 800 a little bit better. There's another close-up for you. Now, as I said, the handlebars on the 900 are a little bit wider. They're also a little bit taller. So I did take a measurement from the ground to the, you know, to the handlebar to see how tall it was. On the 900, it was about like 47 inches, and on this one, it was like 44. So it's definitely a taller stance on the 900 bike for sure, and that really translates into the seating position. Let's just talk about that right now, because that's one of the key differences on these bikes, honestly, is the seating position. Now, I'll throw up some videos of me sitting on each bike. I have the seat adjusted the same on both. They're both set at like 37.5 inches. So the seat height is identical when you see me sit on these bikes. And you'll see that the 800 stretches you out and leans you over more. It's a more aggressive seating position for sure. So that's going to be your personal preference. Do you want to sit more upright, or do you want to lean over a little bit further? 800 is going to stretch you out and lean you over further. I like the 900 seating position a little bit better because I like to ride kind of tall and upright. And while we're talking about seating, let's look at the seats. So narrower seat on the 800, no springs or anything in the back of it. The 900 has a softer, thicker seat with the nylon springs. Also has a taillight feature built in there. There's a little tiny button under here right there. You can turn on the taillight to flash or stay steady. I mean, me personally, I like a nice soft squishy seat, so I like the 900 seat a little bit better. Both the bikes do have rear suspension. They're set up a little bit different. So this one is, this suspension shock here is set vertically. This one's more horizontal in line with the top bar. Like I said, the 900 is a stiffer ride for sure. This one is more squishier on the 800. And though both bikes do have that rear suspension, they are not adjustable. It is what it is. So it's set up a certain way, and the only way you're going to adjust it or change it is if you actually buy a different you know, shock here to mount in there. All right, what other differences? So, okay, another difference, batteries. They are both 48-volt batteries. The 800 is a 13 amp hour battery, and the 900 is a 17.5 amp hour battery. So you get a bigger battery on the 900. I did test the range on both of these, and you know, range is very, very subjective. I mean, there's 1.5 million factors, but on, you know, I rode them both aggressively, we'll call it. I went out for some spirited rides on each bike. And I got 28 miles out of the 800. I got like 31 out of the 900. I did ride the 900 probably a little bit harder, but I was still, you know, even riding it harder, I still got more range out of it. So if you're looking for a longer range, you know, obviously the 17 amp hour battery is going to allow you to go further. And the batteries are both mounted in the same spot, but controllers are not. The controller is mounted right here on the 800, whereas in the 900, it is inside the frame, which I like. It actually gives her a cleaner look. These frames are, you know, they're very wide, and the controller's inside here. If you need to get to it, you just take the battery off and then slide the battery cradle to the side, and there's a hole cut in the frame, and you can access the controller if you need to. Both bikes have the option for a rear rack. This 800 obviously doesn't have it, but the 900 does. They sell those aftermarket on the website. They both have identical fenders. I like these fenders. A lot of people do not like these fenders. They're not the full wraparound fenders. And you know, these are bikes, these full suspension bikes, they're not really, you know, they're meant to be, I think, a little bit more exciting. They've got these fenders that are probably built a little bit more for off-roading these things. Now, as far as motors, they both have identical motors. They both use a Bafang 750 motor, quite powerful. Both bikes peak, you know, well over 1,000 watts, so they're very powerful. As far as, okay, we can stop now and talk about power delivery. That's an important difference that I do want to bring up on these bikes. So as far as top speed goes, they're both pretty much the same. I mean, I can throttle alone, they both go up near 30 miles an hour. So they're quite powerful. They both climb hills very well, but the way that the power is delivered to you is the main difference. So on the 800, it seems like the power is much more in the throttle. So you can be riding this bike in pedal assist 3 up a hill and you feel like it's struggling, and then you twist the throttle and it takes off like crazy and blazes up the hill. And the 900 is pretty much the opposite. I can find a really, really steep hill and climb that hill in pedal assist 1. It just dumps all the power into the pedal assist. You can climb pretty much any hill in pedal assist 1. It gives you well over 1,000 watts, but the throttle feels a little bit more tame. So I guess it depends on how you want the power delivered. Would you rather have really strong pedal assist like the 900, or do you want more of the power in the throttle, which is going to be the 800? Now, I rode them back to back numerous times, and I just could not decide, honestly, which one I thought was more powerful. They both feel equally powerful, they just deliver it in a different way. Now, another thing I really want to point out, this is good to know, is that all the Cyrusher bikes that I have 3 of them, I have the 650 as well, the throttle, the power out of the throttle is linked to the pedal assist. So it matters what pedal assist you're in. You don't get the full power out of twisting the throttle unless you are in pedal assist 5. So a lot of the other bikes I've ridden aren't like that. You know, the Raz and the Hemiways and all the other bikes I've reviewed, you pretty much get full power out of the throttle all the time. These you don't. It's linked to that pedal assist number, and I've not found any way to, you know, unlink that or deactivate that. It's just kind of the way these are. So if you want full, you know, 1,000 plus watts out of your throttle, you got to be in pedal assist 5. All right, well, those were just some of the differences. Now let me try to maybe sum it up for you. So if we're talking about the 800, so 800, squishier suspension, still full suspension, but much softer. I was able to spring it really well at 170 pounds. You get more out of the throttle on this one. It's stronger throttle than it is pedal assist. It's a little bit lighter weight than the 900 by a couple pounds, and you notice it. And the other thing you notice, you know, the seating position is a big thing. It really stretches you out. If you're looking for an aggressive seating position where you're kind of leaning over a little bit more, this bike's got that. The front rake is, I don't know, steeper. So the front tires like kind of way out in front of you. You notice it when you're steering actually on this bike. These are just drastically different feels when you ride these bikes in terms of seating position. So that's kind of the overall feel I got for this. That was more, I kind of feel like this is the bike you put on the rack on the back of your car and you take it somewhere to ride it. And the 900 is more the bike that you just ride to where you're going to ride it, because it's more comfortable position for me anyway. That's kind of a personal preference. So that's the 800. Squishier suspension, more out of the throttle, a little bit lighter weight, the cheaper version. The 900, so more upright seating position, squishier seat, handlebars are, you know, higher up. I like that seating position, and it just looks tough with these giant front forks, these gold air suspension forks. So this is a stiffer suspension, more upright riding style, strong with the pedal assist. I mean, God, you can climb anything with this pedal assist and pedal assist 1. It just dumps so much power in there. And bigger battery on this one, the 17 amp hour batteries, is going to take you a little bit further, 21 speeds. I don't know, it's up to you to decide which one of these two you think matches what you're looking for. So I hope that was helpful if you're trying to decide which one you might want to get. If you've got questions about either, put them in the comment section. I will do my best to answer them. And if you like what you saw, do me a favor, consider hitting subscribe and check out some of my other review and comparison videos, including reviews on both of these two and the Cyrusher XF650. I reviewed that one as well. So hope that was helpful, or at least entertaining. Thanks for watching.